Hello and welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. I'm Noah, delighted as always to be joined by Greg, and we're here to give our reaction to we're finally getting the rematch. 2 years on from their original encounter, Josh Taylor is fighting Jack Catterall again on the April 27th in Leeds. Yeah, as I mentioned, one of the most controversial decisions in recent memory, to be honest, last time out in February 2022 in Glasgow. A lot of it seems like a lifetime since then, but we're finally getting it again, this time in the north of England. So yeah, Greg, let's just jump straight into it. I hope you're well, and basically just give me your thoughts, your immediate thoughts on this getting confirmed. As I mentioned, it's finally happening. Is it the fight you wanted to see? You're happy it's finally kind of happening again? And also about the weight, because I know yourself had some opinions on it. The fact that it's happening at 140 pounds again. Of course, Josh Taylor has struggled for a long time, seemingly to make that weight, but we're going again at super lightweight. So yeah, just your immediate thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for having me. As always, Niall, I'm delighted the fight's on. Let's be honest. I, I'm not one of these guys that have got loads of national pride. I'm absolutely so proud to be Scottish. I'm proud when we have Scotsmen who do well in sports and things. But I do have like a lot of admiration for Josh Taylor, the fighter. What that guy's achieved, and I feel like it's not spoken enough about. I don't think it's acknowledged enough. Is superstardom, winning all the world titles at super lightweight, and I've never felt that he's got the recognition that he deserves. So yeah, I'm glad this fight's back on because he took a lot of stick in the first fight. I had Jack Catterall winning. I think off the top of my head, I think I had it 116, 112 Catterall, something along the lines of that anyway. Um, and I thought Josh Taylor is so much better than Jack Catterall with the greatest of respect. He didn't show it that night, and it's almost as though he stayed at super lightweight too long. As I say, we spoke off camera. Josh Taylor isn't that far off 6 foot. He's about 5'11". He still makes 10 stone at 33 years old, which is it's crazy. I'm happy the fight is on now, but I'm really disappointed that it's been agreed at 140 because if Josh Taylor, I believe, was a bigger star, which he deserves to be, and he holds more ground in the negotiations, that fight's never happened at 140. So happy the fight's on now, but disappointed with the weight.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with you there, really. It's as I say, Josh Taylor's really struggled to boil down to 140 the last couple of fights, but in a way, I don't know if I kind of admire it in a way, saying, okay, let's get it back. No advantage, I suppose. Let's get it back the way it was back in 2022. I don't want any room for excuses. I don't want any room for, I don't
He's
want any,
stubborn now.
yeah,
That's what it is.
stubborn.
He's stubborn. And
Yeah,
I know exactly what he's like. And I'm not going to say that I have a personal relationship with him where I spoke to him every day. We were around in the amateurs at the same time. Josh at a different level. He was always at the elite level and things. But I know what he's like as a person. And I can
yeah,
just picture him sitting there going, I'm going to go back to 140 and I'm going to do what people don't think I can do. And I'll beat him there and I'll show him how much better. And I think sometimes you've got to leave your ego at the door. And I don't
yeah,
know if it's a good decision now.
absolutely. Yeah, too stubborn for his own good, I'd say, would be the
Yeah.
correct term for that. Basically, like yeah, I think that hands an advantage to Catterall already, to be honest with you. For the rematch would have been at
Yeah.
140. But yeah, so moving on, one thing I did want to touch on before we get into this fight and how you think it go, just a quick one. What do you think what do you think went wrong looking back on that first fight for Josh Taylor? If you had to pin it down for one thing, is it mainly weight? Or is it like credit to Jack Catterall? He fought brilliantly. He fought absolutely brilliantly that first fight. But part of me, no disrespect to him, thinks that Josh Taylor might have overlooked Jack Catterall in the first fight to a drastic extent, to be honest with you. After his marvelous Super Series run, winning undisputed, he should have kind of on paper bamboozled Jack Catterall and comfortably beat him. Now, obviously, fights aren't won on paper, but do you believe that was the case first time around, or do you just think Jack Catterall stylistically is wrong for Josh Taylor?
It's a really good question now because there's a little bit of a trend that's set that looks as though Josh Taylor might not like to fight southpaws. I do think that Josh Taylor, I don't even know if it's so much as overlooked. I think he was undermotivated when he fought Jack Catterall because he's went through the World Boxing Super Series, fought at the pinnacle of the sport, took on Ramirez, I think was it in Vegas, that fight, to going back home and defending your titles against someone that you kind of had to fight. So I think he was looking at that and thinking, I've beaten Victor Postal, I've beat Jose Ramirez, I've beat Regis Prograis, I'll skip by Jack Catterall. And I think that's where he went wrong. That and the weight is just, after the Lopez fight, Niall, it's never been more obvious to me that he needs to go up. And he's spoken about going up. He said it was his last fight at 140. He said, I believe, in the Lopez fight that he felt his legs were dead after about 3 or 4 rounds. That's not going to change, and that's only going to get worse the older you get. But I do admire the balls of saying, I'm going to stay at 140 and I'm going to stand him on his head and I'll show everyone it was a mistake. Good luck to him, but it's not the decision I would have made.
Yeah, no, again, I'd agree. And as you mentioned there, of course, both men not very active since the first fight. I think Catterall's fought twice. Had a career best win against Jorge Linares last time out, and as you mentioned, Josh Taylor comfortably beaten by Teofimo Lopez in a fight that nobody expected it to go the way it did, to be honest. So activity is a bit of an issue for both men coming into this. Let's look ahead now to the rematch. How do you see this going this time around? Let's dive straight into it and give predictions, both
Yeah.
stylistically and results wise. What happens? Is a repeat or revenge this time around for either Josh Taylor or Jack Catterall? What do you think?
I can't bring myself to say Catterall wins because I'm a very like I've always said to you, with boxing, if you're going to call it, you leave your heart at the door. You don't show any emotion, who you like, who you don't like, etc. Would I like to see Josh Taylor win? Of course I would. Of course I would. I want people from this country to do great. That's what everyone from every country feels like normally. But I just think it's just all wrong. I just got a good feeling about it, and I have to be honest now. And I really, really hope I'm wrong because I admire Josh Taylor a lot as a fighter, what he's done in the game. But I just think that the fight will be very similar to the first one again. I think Taylor, for me, needs to outwork Catterall. And if he's going to the well to make 10 stone and saying that his legs weren't there against Lopez, I don't see how he's going to have the engine to outwork Jack Catterall and correct the first fight. If it was at 147, I'd probably just slightly favour Taylor. But 140, I just think it may go the same way again. And I think that Catterall just might outpoint him. But I'll be watching closely to see how he's looking when the weight's coming down. But that's my gut instinct at the moment now.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you again. Like it was just so kind of he just had it figured out so much first time around, Jack
Yeah,
Catterall. And as we mentioned before, our team in this video, the weight he's dead at 140, and I just think that has to be a key factor in this. I like to think again. I'm more hoping as a kind of a Josh Taylor fan myself that we have to see a totally different Josh Taylor. We just have to. As I said earlier, I subscribe to the notion that he kind of. I'm reluctant to say that he's past his best. He's just a bit kind of tight at the weight. He was beaten by a brilliant Teofimo Lopez. But
yeah,
I do think there is an element of overlooking Jack Catterall in the first fight. So
yeah.
I think we will see a better Josh Taylor. I just think we have to, but I don't think it'll be enough. I think he'd be too drained, and Jack Catterall hasn't figured out stylistically too much. So I can't see anything else but a Catterall points victory for me. And
Yeah, uh-huh.
it's
Yeah.
in
No,
England this
sorry, now I'll
time as
cut you off.
well. Yeah, go ahead.
See, while we're talking about it, I feel quite passionate about it. Jack Catterall was fantastic that night. This isn't anything. I'm not discrediting Jack Catterall here. I'm just saying,
No,
oh, Josh Taylor is a bad night. He's bad at the weight, etc. Jack Catterall was superb. He's the
absolutely.
first guy for this country to beat Jorge Linares on this land. Jorge Linares has come over, and although it was a more faded Jorge Linares, he's still the first guy to do it. Um, looking at the first fight, as I say, Catterall stylistically was. I think that's his lifetime performance. I don't know if
Yeah.
he could be any better than he was that night. And do you know something with Josh Taylor? I just think he's he's such a good fighter, and I think when Teofimo Lopez beat him, that's the best Lopez has looked since he
Yeah.
fought Lomachenko.
Hmm.
See, Teofimo Lopez at the top of his game beats most elite fighters. Let's be honest, and he's
Yeah.
not looked great in the ones that he's not been up for, but the ones that he's been up for, he's looked good. So cut both fighters a bit of credit on my behalf. I don't want to look as if I'm being negative to both. So good fight. I'm looking forward to it, but a lot of unanswered questions for me now.
Yeah, no, it's a great point that you made. And just on the Linares performance, I thought Catterall looked really good against Linares too. I know he didn't stop him, but I thought he looked very good in beating him. He won every round
Yeah,
basically. But yeah, that's our kind of prediction about who we think is going to win. So just quickly before we wrap up, we both have Catterall on points here in this one. There's a lot of pressure on this. I'm not going to say who there's more pressure on. There's a pile of pressure on both men on this to deliver, but it's been described as a real crossroads fight. This, after how the first one played out, after how Josh Taylor has performed since, the amount of kind of expectation on Catterall's shoulders. In Let's say look ahead and say if Jack Catterall is to beat Josh Taylor. How do you see him fitting in the world title landscape on 140? Of course, it's a very competitive division. You have Devin Haney, Subriel Matias, Rolly Romero. It's a really solid division. Teofimo Lopez. Could Jack Catterall win a world title if he was to beat Josh Taylor? How would you see him fare against the world champions at 140?
I think the natural fight that would be made now is Matchroom now have Matthias.
Yeah,
That's the fight that I think will get made because Catterall's with Matchroom, Matthias with Matchroom. It's one of these shows that will probably get put on in America, is
yeah,
my guess. But I was thinking about this a lot this morning now. If Catterall beats Taylor, which still for me is a big if,
yeah,
Josh Taylor's a talented guy and things, but if he does win, they're one each. What about a rematch at
yeah.
144, 143? You never know. We could see that rubber match, the trilogy. I think that could be quite realistic. By the way, I wouldn't count that out because if Josh Taylor loses here, I don't think he's got many places to go. So it might be the fight that he needs to take. So yeah, I think we might see a trilogy. But I just get a feeling if Catterall wins, we'll see a trilogy with this fight.
Definitely a possibility if it's close, especially. And you kind of
Yeah,
segue me on to my next question there about Josh Taylor. It is must win for Josh Taylor, this, isn't it? Let's put it
yeah,
straight. He has to win this, or else there's really nowhere for him to go. He can move up, but yeah, he has to set this record straight, yeah, doesn't he?
yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It can move up. It's inevitable that Crawford will let go of the welterweight titles, but it's a very good division as well. Guys like Spence kicking about. I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Taylor loses and moves up that Matchroom make him an offer to fight Conor Ben. I can see that happening. So yeah, I think he would probably move up, and he would have to be an opponent for someone. Because I say I don't think there's a lot of places to go if he loses other than the trilogy.
yeah, I agree. And Josh Taylor's ego, I don't think he'll let him be an opponent for anyone. He wants world titles and he wants to be winning world titles. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a really high stakes fight. So that's our prediction and reaction for Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall 2 on April 27th in Leeds. The rematch it's finally on. Let us know what you think in the comments. Is a repeat or revenge, Catterall or Taylor? And don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, follow on the socials. And yeah, Greg, thanks for coming on and speak next time.
Thanks very much now.